we're just gonna dive in. Q&R code. Hello, this is Quinn. On the other side is Riley. We're so glad to have you here. And thank you for your patience with, I don't even like to say our technical difficulties, because I would take it as our own if it had anything to do with us. Unfortunately, it had nothing to do with us and was completely out of our hands. And we won't dwell on that too long.
You can call me Riley, IT from now on, because I truly feel that I've had to become one with the computer, and
yes, you have done a lot in terms of contacting support. Riley and support, I would say they're best friends, but it's not actually really working out that way for the relationship, unfortunately.
Unfortunately,
half of the time it's a bot
that I have to not slip into full Karen mode in these moments, but I do my best to keep my composure. But yeah, that's
how Sean felt too.
And we, week after week, just really pride ourselves on that consistency, so it does make us feel some kind of way that we couldn't get it up on the day we prefer to, but you guys are an understanding group. Anyway, back to the important stuff. Camping with the dogs. I've been waiting so patiently to hear this update, you guys, because I've been wanting to know how it went for Quinn, but we saved it for the podcast because we want you to get to hear about her menagerie camp adventure.
I've been so excited to update you. We had so much fun. We went camping this weekend, and it was our first time camping with our herd. So we brought the ghost horse, not the ghost horse. We brought our horse Ghost. We brought Annie.
Like your horse that has passed away as of late.
Yeah. Okay, well, then apparently Captain was with us as well. So there was an empty stall left open for him. There actually was. Captain, wish you were there. But the donkey and the horse came along. The goat came along. And both of our dogs. So the only animals left behind were our chickens and the cat, which, if I had it my way, I would be able to take 100% of the herd, but this still felt like quite a bit going on.
Really wild.
Chickens, oh my gosh, with the dogs, like, oh, I don't even want to get into the off-leash dog situation that happened to us yesterday, so I'll just keep on moving forward with the positive stuff. So Sean and I love camping. We grew up camping. Riley and I were camping with our family oftentimes. And oh my gosh, also just growing up, you really, like, now that I'm an adult and have seen more of the world, you really realize how unbelievably spoiled we were growing up in Jackson and the surrounding areas, like the camping out there, just the wilderness, obviously. It's so beautiful. Like, our typical Rye, if you think of our just typical childhood camping spot, so pretty. Like, I want to go back there. I told Sean, I was like, we should.
The river.
Such a beautiful river running right through, and then big trees and mountains and cool, just so, it was so special and so private too, and such big campsites. Like, anyway, this we were excited about because we had heard from another equine person about this campsite that actually has corrals for your horses. Of course, you can go camping with like a hot wire setup or anything like that, and we definitely will do that in the future, but we felt like for our first time it would be super helpful to have an actual place to put our animals, know they're secure, and just be able to like sleep at night with that, because so many moving parts. We have a horse trailer that has a living quarters. It's a trailer from the 90s. It's awesome. I love it. I feel like it's all we need. I really love our trailer. but it's not like, you see some such bougie living quarters with kitchenettes and bathrooms. It's not like that.
I'm asking this for the non-horse people. Why couldn't you just have the equine spend the night in their trailer?
Because I'm not actual Satan and would never do that to them.
Well,
Horse
a lot of
trailers.
people don't know, like, that how a horse sleeps and everything.
Yeah.
Or lack thereof.
Well, horses definitely sleep. You don't want a sleep-deprived horse, but they can sleep standing, but they go between, like, standing. Sometimes they're laying down, and most of all,
Access
why
to
you
food
wouldn't.
and water.
Yeah, access to food and water, but most of all, a trailer is like one of a horse's least favorite places to be. It's a dark, closed off metal box that makes big sounds and that feels a little unsteady when they're walking back and forth, like, and it's close quarters. They could not flee if they wanted to. So that, honestly, one of the trickier parts of the camping for us this weekend was just that I need to continue the trailer loading practice with our animals, which the equine, the Go is perfect. He just hops right up there. I love him so much.
What a good
Alvin
boy.
gets a shout out. Easiest animal by far. This whole weekend, MVP. We were just like, I love you, Alvin. Thank you so much. He's so cute. He's a crowd favorite, and he's just an easygoing guy. But, it takes a lot of practice getting horses used to loading in and out of a trailer and then backing up out of it and everything, but I'm really proud
One of
of
the
how
hardest things that we've had to do was load Annie into a trailer when she didn't want to.
the actual hardest physical and mental pursuit we've ever had, and it just makes me feel badly because I hate to think of ever having a negative association with the trailer that came from me, but when that happened was when we
There was
picked
no
up
choice.
yeah, when we picked up Annie and Captain from our grandparents in Montana. Those are my two equine that came from my grandparents that when they were no longer able to take care of them, Sean and I took them in, which is so special, and I will be forever grateful. And we also are so lucky to have inherited the horse trailer. So that was my grandparents' horse trailer, and I used to, like, when it was just us and Ghost before we added the more equine, I used to have such an adorable little vintage 2-horse bumper pole trailer that I loved, and I was telling Sean this weekend I wish we could have kept it, but when we sold it we really needed the money, and we also didn't have the space for 2 trailers, and still now it would not be great to have 2 trailers, but I just love that trailer. It was so cute.
So cute.
And such, just the perfect thing for an easier if you're just gonna take 1 or 2 animals. It's so simple. But anyhow, so it was so special taking on this pursuit. Sean and I have both wanted to do more adventures with the equine for a long time, and we could get into all the reasons why it hasn't happened yet. Of course, part of it is because we hadn't made it happen, and then part of it is we have had such fluctuating herd dynamics. There have been, Captain was such an older horse, and with equine, for people that don't know, you don't just like leave a horse alone. There are some horses that are more able to withstand being alone for a shorter period of time. None of my animals are like that. They are very, very strong herd animals, especially having 2 of them being from the wild. That, like, Ghost is a Mustang, and Annie is from BLM land as well. She was a wild burro, and they're just very herd oriented. So anyway, there are
They don't
different
want to get
circumstances.
caught slipping without their homies.
No, they want to feel safe in their herd. And so, anyway, I just felt so determined for this summer. Like, we're going to make this happen. I'm so excited about it. I know it's going to be a big push and a lot of effort, but we both want this so badly, and it's going to be such good exposure for our animals and just good for us to push ourselves. So a week or two ago, I decided I am cleaning out this horse trailer. I'm doing it now, and I am getting it to the place where we want to go camping. And I just one day was like, I'm starting today. And it was a huge undertaking because the whole living quarters of our trailer hasn't been majorly addressed since taking it from our grandparents' house almost 4 years ago. Which is so crazy to think that that's the timeline that we've had. It feels like it was a project I only procrastinated for a couple of seasons, not a few years, but we had done a big push, and like when we took it from our grandparents, got a lot of stuff organized, a lot of stuff cleared out, but then it kind of just became a storage room for us for where stuff can be protected from mice and protected from the weather, and honestly was really helpful and served that function very well. But finally said enough is enough. We can't go camping with the state this is in, and it's not functional. So I cleared everything out, and oh my gosh, the workout that was, but I'm so proud of it. Cleared all this stuff out, and then Sean, I was not expecting to have him do it. I was planning on doing it myself, but even when he doesn't, it's not his idea of what he's going to do, is like strip something out, clean it, whatever. When I have started a project and he sees that I need help, he can't help himself but jump in. So I feel super grateful.
He's like,
because
let me grab my handheld vacuum and my tools.
That is exactly what he did. He grabbed a bunch of his tools and blew it out and swept it out and vacuumed it out. So that was so helpful because I got to a little bit of the sweeping, but not much, and Sean just got that done. So we really collabed on that effort. And
if we can count on Sean for anything, it's that he likes to keep a situation spick and span, and that is where Brayden and Sean's paths unfortunately diverge in the woods. If Brayden had just unloaded a load of hay from the back of the truck, I can't imagine it ever crossing his mind to clean it out. Whereas it's not like Sean's just sweeping it out. He does have his blower, and he might as well have forceps, like picking out the pieces of hay if it got stuck anywhere.
He's very thorough with the job he does. I can tell you there was not a single pellet of hay, because there's pelleted hay, and where we were storing all of our pellets and grain was in the trailer, and so there was just some spillage and stuff. There was not a single pellet of hay left to be found. There was...
Sean is the man for the job since he doesn't have allergies. Like, that is an invaluable resource.
It seriously is, and I'm so grateful. Again, I did not ask him to do the clean out, and he did it, and that was so helpful because also the way my allergies were when I was unloading all of the stuff versus then me getting in the next day after Sean had done the cleaning, I was like, this is different air in here. So, so relieved. And then got to have the most fun time ever with my twin on the phone with me. I only would have preferred it if she would have been there in person getting to pick out stuff with me. But we were like, okay, we need the focal point of the living quarters is the sleeping area. So we basically have, it's just a fairly...
The focal point, Quinn, that is the entire living quarters.
Exactly. So there's the floor. That's, I don't know. I wish I was better with measurements. None of it is a perfect square, but it's maybe generously
Small.
6 feet deep and 1.3 feet across and at 1.6 or 7 feet across. And then the biggest thing we have going in there is the platform up to the bed. Like, it's literally just a flat platform. If you guys can picture a gooseneck trailer, like, the bed is what is hanging over the truck. So, which, right, isn't it so sweet thinking of childhood memories with that trailer? We thought that that bed was the coolest thing, that they had like the
Oh, we love
plastic
to climb up in
stairs
there.
for loading, for like mounting a
Grandma
horse.
getting on the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, and climbing up in there, and we're like, oh, this is so cool. Like, just a nook as a kid is everything.
Yes.
And I still
We
feel
were
that way.
like, this is a zone without adults, and we will live in here with our horses. Like, when we found out it's the living quarters, and we're just like, yeah, because we're going to live here with the horses. And people genuinely do that and live out of trailers for
Yeah.
a long time. You would need to figure out a setup that would be very functional with that, because this is not. When you say living quarters, I fear just like somebody picturing an RV or something.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
no,
can't
no, no,
express
no.
to you how bare bones it is. When Quinn just said that the space like on the floor is maybe 6 feet at some point, that shocked me. Like, I did not think it was that big. It feels quite tight when you're in there.
Well, you've
especially if
never
there's any stuff.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
never
I've
seen it
never
cleared
seen
out.
it cleaned out. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, there's a narrow corridor of 2 feet, perhaps.
No. There. Picture this. Our big, fluffy bed that we just bought for Bunny from Little Creek that I actually think I dropped yesterday, in the episode last week or recently. So we have one of those big beds and then one of the large Carhartt beds. Those both went side by side. So there's the entry, obviously. You open the door, you step in. We put down a like little saddle blanket, which is so cute, as the doormat. And then there's a couple full steps and then the dog beds laying next to each other. And they had room between each other. It's not like they're like pressed up against each other. There was room between each other. So that's what we had going on the floor. But then the bed, it's like, okay, this is our everything. This is our chill area. Also, this trailer, like, I literally think that more properly, that is also referred to as the tack room. There is a tack room in the back of the trailer, but I think that more properly than calling it the living quarters, because there's nothing there. I think it low-key is, like, also considered the tack room. But
it is a multi-purpose space, and we love that. Do
but
your own trailer.
We decided, like, we grew up always, well, that's not true. We grew up when we were little kids, we were camping in tents, and then we've camped in tents because we backpack and stuff like that. But we did end up getting a camper when we were kids. But anyway, so Sean and I decided this is our glamping. Like, we're gonna have so much fun with this. We're gonna make this comfortable. We're going to make this inviting. And I just wanted a cute, warm, soft, fun space. So went ahead and bought a mattress topper. So we've got a foam topper in there. But the first thing I laid down was a drop cloth, like a painter's cloth. And the whole trailer is dark gray with this like weird plasticky carpety material, which I understand it serves its purpose great, but it's not the cutest thing. So I was like, I want to fully cover that.
Nor the softest.
Nor the
stuff is
softest.
scratchy.
No, so I was like, there's no way. I'm not rolling off the bed and pricking my arm on that. So just a tan painter's drop cloth, which worked perfectly for this, and then put down the mattress topper that we, as much as I like, it gives me the willies to think about plastic over a mattress. In this case, we decided, okay, a plastic zippered mattress cover is the way to go to keep everything as, you know, easily wipe downable, cleanable as can be. So put that down. And then Riley helped me pick out our sheets, our sheet set, and our duvet set. I already had a duvet, but needed a cover already had pillows, needed pillowcases, and I'm not gonna lie, I did not save money on these purchases. I did buy.
Yeah, but it's also not like it was Brooklinen.
It was not Brooklinen, but it was um Threshold from Target. So, there's like just the whatever.
Room essentials.
Yeah, like that, where the sheets are a little less nice. The sheets we got are Tencel fabric, so nice and silky and cooling. Honestly, perfect. I'm so glad we did that. And then, so those are a little bit of a goldeny tan. And then the duvet set is a creamy tan linen. Same with the shams. And then I got all of that up there, threw on a throw pillow, threw on one of our hides, our little cow hide, and put up some lights that one of my friends told me that they're big campers. They found these lights at Walmart. Coolest find ever, because string lights, I feel like lights are just something that can get so tangled and so messed up and end up being so wasteful and everything because they're just shitty. These lights are so cool, Riley. Like, you have to get some too if you can get your hands on them. I'm not joking you. I spent 1 hour at Walmart looking for them, which is not the way I wanted to spend my
That's
time.
a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, but none of the people that were working at Walmart knew anything about where anything was. So finally, after enough problem solving, I was like, okay, it's this aisle. It's supposed to be in this region of this aisle, but still, I'm like trying to open my eyes as wide as possible. Couldn't possibly find them, but finally found the last set, but they had fallen down, so I couldn't see them, and the tag, like, was not descriptive or helpful at all. But I found it, and I was so excited because these are the coolest lights ever. They come in a pod. It's like a plastic, just round, little, not exactly a dome, but anyway, they're retractable. So they stay in this, like, housing. That's cute. It's not, like, it doesn't look shitty. It's cute. And, it's simple. And so then they pull out of this housing, and then you can wind them back in, and the lights are rechargeable, like, through a USB. They have a little plug-in, and then you can change it between just being twinkly lights that are cream, then they can do the, like, glowing effect, and then they have a set of colored lights that there's, like, a little blue, green, red, and then can be, like, a bright light if you need a bright light. And
so what is the actual string like, though? Like, is it like a Christmas light, or is it like on the wire, those type of lights that
no,
have the
it's
little,
not
like...
just the copper. It's like the copper, but then is sealed with just clear plastic.
That sounds cool. So you knew to specifically look for these lights. Oh, because your friends had a set?
Yes, they had just bought some for camping, and they were like, they're so sick too, because the pod thing magnetized to my friend's truck, so they, like, put it on his truck and then strung it from tent to tent, and they're 30 feet long. And
that's
so
cool.
They're awesome. Like, if there was another set, I would have bought another set, and I will be keeping my eyes out. I am stoked about that purchase. So I got to do some sweet little twinkly lights.
Need that for my backyard because it's so dark back there that I have a strand of lights up, but it's not even enough.
Yeah, those, I mean, they're definitely, if you did them on the bright setting, they would shed more light.
Like
they're good in a small they're good in a small space, like, or helpful to see camping, that, like, so you don't trip over someone's tent or whatever. But
yeah,
I'm so excited about that. And then, we packed up all our camping stuff, which it felt so good to just kind of go back through stuff and figure out what we needed. And when we got there and got set up, like throughout the, I don't know, almost 30 hours that we were camping, there were several things that we were like, okay, let's write this down. Definitely need to bring that next time. Like, we needed extra. We didn't bring enough just things to put food in. We were like, we should have brought an extra big, what's it called? A metal bowl. What are those called?
Just
like
a mixing bowl?
Yeah, a mixing bowl. We should have brought something like that. We should have brought, what was, oh, like another knife. There are just several things like that we were like, let's go through, write this down. We need that next time. We needed a pump of hand soap. That I brought hand sanitizer and wipes, and I had thought of hand soap but just didn't put it in there, and we were like, okay, yes, we definitely need hand soap. That was crazy. Just having the hand sanitizer.
Cracking up thinking about, not to interrupt, but when Brayden and I first went camping, just us two, and we were in high school and with our parents had to be like, can we please like go? We really want to go camping with us two. And obviously our parents are pretty chill and understanding of stuff, and they're like, yeah, I'm sure you want to go camping, okay, you guys can go. And it was like early in the season, like April, which in Jackson it's still so cold, and we brought some stuff to build a fire. And we did successfully build a little fire, but it was windy, and so like,
Ooh.
we were just like, you know what, it's actually too windy, that this is not responsible, we have to put this out. Put out the fire, got in the car, we are freezing. Like, we were just going car camping, we had like laid out mats in the back of the car and sleeping bags, and we were so cold, and Brayden just like flicked on the lighter, and I'm like trying to warm a marshmallow enough that it's like still satisfying, but it's clearly not gonna happen. It's a freaking lighter flame, and we're just shivering our tuckuses off in the back of this car, being like, cool, I guess that we got permission to go camping, but we're actually so cold and miserable.
Yeah.
That just came back to me.
That is so funny. Camping obviously can be so fun and can be miserable, and that's not even a bad part about it. That's part of what shapes you. Like, sometimes you need to be caught in the rain camping.
Misery.
Yeah, and feel like, oh shit, I'm genuinely so cold and so concerned for my well-being right now. That, I feel like you've got to have stuff that makes you tough. So, what made me
Quinn's
tough
like,
for the weather
not
was
having hand soap.
the hardest thing for us was it was hot as hell. I'm honestly glad it's not like our trailer stayed cool and crisp. It did not. But it was definitely reprieve from being out in the sun. But shade is something we need to get a better hang on. We brought stuff to make shade, but honestly, with all that it was taking to manage the dogs, get the equine set up in their pens, get the goat set up, get our fire built, get the food made, feed the dogs dinner. Like, all of that stuff took so much time, and we're roasting in the sun. But by the time that we were like, okay, now we're ready, that we actually could set up shade, it was like, it's too late. We need to get a fire going. We need to focus on our food. We're both hungry and now getting, like slightly irritated because we're hungry. So we just ended up being like, shade is not our priority this time. We're just going to have to bake ourselves. And next time we will have a better idea of approaching that. But
I can't tell you how bad I want one of those spheres from Spy Kids that they just like set in the sand and then it like pops up their whole setup.
So sick.
Remember those?
Yes,
So
I
nice.
remember those.
Best gadgets ever.
I
that
love
movie.
Spy Kids so much. I literally love that movie. Give me one of the hair tie elastics that you can and it picks something up. Like, yes, they're
Sick.
literally layer multiple watches on my wrist so I can see multiple different things going on. I love Spike. Give me some gum that shocks you, like when you eat it, and then sticks to things and makes a camera. I literally.
Shocks you when you eat it.
Well, I remember it was like Sparky.
Quinn's like,
They
give
threw
me
it-
Uncle Machete.
Yeah, give me Machete, my biggest crush in Hollywood, period. And I stand by that. Best tattoos in Hollywood. That's
You know
crazy.
what I love is that Quinn's taste in men was spot on from a young age. I remember when we first found out about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Quinn's like, "Yes, love." We're
Yeah.
8, and Quinn's like, "I love The Rock."
Yes. I had a very big crush on him. I really do. I have a type, and it's so funny because I have a type like visually
theory?
through in theory, and then who I've dated is a very specific type that is nothing like what my type is that I would select like out of the movies, but they've all been a similar type, but I
Quinn's
love
type on paper is different than her type in practice.
yeah, it is. And my also including that
Women.
I've never dated women. Yeah, which is crazy. So who
Take
knows
that
if
out.
that'll ever happen. Got married a little young, Quinn. But anyway, it all was so fun. I will say, like, obviously having that amount of animals to manage, I love it, and that is my shtick, but also it was intense. It was a lot of hard work. Like, the dogs, this is new experiences
I
for
mean,
them.
You are definitely inspiring me because Brayden and I haven't gone camping since we've had Roger because, well, that's not true. I guess Brayden's gone camping independently of us. But just
Bitch.
with Roger, I'm like, damn, that
He would
sounds-
leave mom and dog home. He's like, yeah, mommy and baby can stay home while daddy gets to go camping.
Well, I will say Brayden's like, I think we can do it. And I'm more like, gosh, this seems rough to pull off, especially because we would be tent camping. And I'm like, I'm supposed to invite this actually filthy, stinky critter into the nighttime tent with me after he's been exploring, probably in water. Like,
Yeah.
I know for a lot of people that are adventurers, they're like, oh, you know where to get a little dirty. I keep my tent so clean. Like, even though camping, you're out and about or whatever, I always make a concerted effort. Like, obviously not your boots in the tent. I take
Yeah.
off, like, any gross stuff from the day and change into jammies, if you will, not actual like pajamas, but just like clean tent clothes. Like, I do
But
keep
how
that space
much
nice.
would a cute little Jerf Avenue set of jammies hit at the end of a long day
Yeah.
camping?
It would hit so much. All I need is the set of jammies, of which I don't have. But you know, I'm a pajama
Jerf
girl. I wish.
Avenue. Jerf Avenue,
Can
do you
hear
see?
me?
We always tag you. We appreciate
Do
the
you
blue
even
heart
see us?
emojis, but we really want some jammies. I'm wearing you
Thank
today.
you.
You see this? We're always wearing you. Riley's wearing your other pants. Anyway.
So true.
Jerf.
Thank you. Thank
Oh,
you
the way a
very
go
much.
slow robe in the morning would hit. Oh, stepping out of the toothbrush in hands, just having cinched down your waist belt. Toothbrush in hands, the dawn is happening. Like, yes, please. the boys are out
Dawn is
making your water boil for tea. That sounds nice.
You've done a lovely job of setting an atmosphere of which I would enjoy, but you see how Roger was not included in that picture whatsoever. That's the problem with him camping.
Well, we talked about what we're going to do when it's all four of us, and you and Brayden, I'm sorry, but you're not invited to sleep in the bed with us. But
Oh,
I
I thought it
think
was gonna be
that
you and me in there, Sean and Brayden outside.
okay, that would be my preference. You can take that up with
Thank
Sean, or
you.
maybe Brayden can take it up with Sean because Sean can't turn down some good cuddles with Brayden. But we do invite Roger into the living quarters on the floor. Um, if we're going together and there's a tent involved. So that
Okay.
could be a problem number one solve. Also, you might need a bigger tent for that dog if you don't want things to get crazy because right now with the size of your tent, he would have to be in a little ball in the corner and I fear he would want to take a little few steps. Um but honestly, we brought the Z Pen as well. It's just a foldable. I know you know what it is, but for the listener, if you don't know, it's a foldable little gate pen that you can like hook together. You can make a circle, you can make a zigzag. So we did bring that so that Bunny would not be constantly trying to play with Pink in the trailer. But then, okay, so much to say. I'm so excited. I'm having so much fun. I hope you guys are having fun.
I
So
am too. But can
it
I just say
was,
one thing?
yeah, of course.
I just remembered that there's a type of collar. If you guys are fully opposed to like any sort of e-collar, zap, shot collar situation, I hear you on that. Don't come after me. I think that you're allowed to make your choice with your dog on that front. However, I do think it's a cool idea that I've heard that there's a collar that you can, instead of like having a wired connection like you would around your house, you know, where people bury the wire and that's how the shot collar keeps your dog like in a specific perimeter. This one you
Yeah.
can set up perimeters like in other spaces. So if you go out camping or you're somewhere with your dog and you have like an off leash dog that you feel confident in their recall and whatnot, but want to give them kind of a perimeter zone, you can do that. I heard somebody talk about it that does like much more adventuring backcountry whatnot, and I think that's a pretty cool tool because we've tried to take our dogs camping before, not Raj, but our family dogs on tethers, and obviously around a campsite, like it can just be kind of hard to manage a tether of a dog like walking. They're like picking up camp chairs with the line and whatever else.
Oh, you have to be very strategic with where you're putting them. I mean, we didn't have the dogs off leash at all. Not once. Obviously with Bunny, he's a puppy. I don't have the confidence in that. I mean, his recall is great. It's going very well. But Pink has incredible recall, but we were managing too much. First of all, also they ask that it's dogs on leash, and I also respect being around. Like, we were around other people, and I don't
Yeah.
need that, situation, especially if it was just us remote. I would be so much more comfortable with Pink being off leash, but with all the other people in close proximity, it's just not fair to anyone else. Um,
Yeah.
but it works so well. We have so many places on the trailer and the truck, and then also there were the different places that you could tie up your horses and stuff. So we had so many places we could move the dogs around, and then also we're obviously giving them time of different like walks and explores as well. But the first day, the first night, we only stayed one overnight camping at the campground, and it was a lot. It was a lot of new things for everyone, and it was a lot for the dogs. They don't usually sleep by different people, and hear different people coming in and out because we're also by a trailhead where like equine are walking up the trail, and then there's other dogs are coming, and cars are once in a while like coming around the roundabout or whatever. So it was a lot of
So
new
are
stuff.
your equine like they have their own corral space or it's shared with anyone at that campsite?
No, their own. So per each campsite, I forget if it's that you can bring 2 or 4 depending on where you are, it's 2 or 4 separate ones. And they're small. They're not tiny, tiny. Like the horses can easily move around within them, but it's not like I would want to.
Okay.
That's what I would want to long term do with my horse. They're pretty small stalls. But
Yeah.
it was super helpful because we had Alvin in one separately and then Ghost in one, Annie in one. So everyone got to have their own space because I was like, this poor goat, I'm not putting him in there with Ghost constantly charging
Alvin,
him.
He's about to like be on the floor of the trailer with the dogs because he's
Aww.
like,
He's so cute. I will say that was our one animal. Well, I let the equine do a little bit of their grazing without being tied up as well, but Ghost was mostly being tied to trees and stuff, so that was going well. The goat, I made sure it was okay with people. I'm telling you guys, everyone that saw our goat was like, oh my god, you brought a goat, that's so cool. People love the goat. Some people were calling him a sheep, which I'm like,
what?
That is the smoothest coat sheep I've ever seen.
Yeah, to think that he's a sheep is so funny.
I
Like
know, this
adults.
dad to his kids was like, sheep, say it with me, sheep. And I'm like, oh my god.
Alvin's like, I don't do that.
He's like, ah. He does it in a very, they do it in a very different way, but he does still he does still have his very cute little call. Anyway, he was off leash and he was
also,
great.
though, we all do have our dumb moments, like when Quinn to me said about using goat hair fibers to make clothing with. I'm like, oh my gosh, they do that? And Quinn's like, cashmere? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh, yeah, yes.
I thought you were about
they
to
do
say that I did something stupid, which I'm like, which thing? Talk to me.
I'm like, yeah, let's just make a list of stupid things other people have done. No, that was me. We can all own
I don't even think
those
that's stupid.
lapses.
I doubt if
No,
any.
it's more
I doubt
just,
if
like,
most
not
people
drawing.
know that cashmere is from goats.
But I know what the cashmere goat looks like because I've looked at pictures because they're so freaking cute. You guys should look up the cashmere goats. Anyway, that is not what Alvin is, that's for sure. But he is a great goat nonetheless.
Yeah, he's a super super cutie, and he's super friendly and awesome. So that he was again the angel MVP of the whole trip. But the dogs, once we got into the trailer at night and settled down, they did end up settling down well, but we didn't want our weekend to end. So after we had packed up camp, left, we were on our way home, and we almost were home, and Sean and I were like, what if we did another camp out? Because it was so fun, and the bed was so comfy, and it was just such a fun way to romanticize our evening. So we, again, even though it was just parked at home, we with the dogs for a second night stayed out in the camper and had our little dinner out there and watched a show on my iPad.
Oh, that's so fun. I love that.
It was so
Did you have
cute.
beanies and weenies?
No, but that would have been delightful. We had just some Trader Joe's, those like squiggly ramen noodles.
Okay, this is an aside, but have you ever seen any of the YouTube Epicurious series where it's like chef rates store brands of stuff? Like they try every flavor of mac and cheese, or they try every flavor of pizzas that you can just like buy from different stores. I've only seen a couple, but I did see the ramen one, and all of the chefs, they have like 3 different chefs do it anonymously. They like blind taste test and then find out what brand it's from. And the Trader Joe's ones, you're talking about like the squiggly noodles, which I do think are pretty good, right? But the like cup of noodles style ramen ones from Trader Joe's, they were all like, ugh, this is horrible. That tastes like the mom that wants you to be healthy and waters down your meal and the noodles fall apart. Whatever, they were trashing on it so hard. hard, and then finding out it was Trader Joe's, they were like, oh, I'm kind of surprised by that. But I just thought that was an interesting note, an unrelated aside, but I was surprised that in pretty much every video I've seen, any Trader Joe's product, the chefs like rank very low, and then when they discover it's Trader Joe's, are surprised because they're like, "Oh, I shop at Trader Joe's," and I wouldn't think, but
How
the chefs do
interesting.
not find it measuring up.
How
How
interesting.
interesting.
There
But
definitely are those things at Trader Joe's that I agree with that. For sure.
for sure, we can acknowledge that Trader Joe's does way too much like single use packaging. I do not like
Yeah, that
It
they
is, like,
vowed
everything.
to be done with in whatever by 2024. Liars.
Yeah, I've not seen a reduction in that. I've not seen an increase in alternative materials, and
No.
I don't stand for that when they're supposed to be like a more sustainable store. I don't really see how, but in any case, Quinn, I think that that's so fun that you did an at-home camp out, because that is also such a like quintessential summer thing for us to do, not only as kids. Like, we and Summer's home at college would have fun setting up a tent in the backyard and doing a camp out, because sometimes you can't do the entire shebang of driving out, getting a campsite, doing that all, but it's fun to sleep outside, and it's fun to just shake the bag and enjoy the summer nights. And I'm just really glad that you guys went out and had fun, even knowing it was going to be extra work with the animals. I think that you just have to get reps under your belt and their belts for it to be like a more seamless thing, even though it'll always be more work. Like, once you get your routine down and used to it, then you'll just feel empowered to do even like bigger trips. That
Yeah. That is how I felt. I'm like, you just can't be scared of a little hard work. Obviously, also with a life
Okay,
like we
me.
have with these with these animals, it is intense, and it's okay to be. It's not like Sean and I were both like, "Oh, it'll be no problem. It's going to be easy." No, we were both a little bit nervous and intimidated, like, we know this is going to be hard. It is going to be a big push and a lot of effort, especially number one, because either way, with or without the animals, it would be us like ironing out the kinks. Again, we've gone camping many times before, but it's been several years since we've done it with like all of our stuff and in a new state, and just also, unfortunately, some of our camping stuff is dispersed between our parents' houses and stuff that's our stuff that we unfortunately have not collected from them. So we just don't have some of our stuff that we're used to having, and just had to see where we could fill in the holes without trying to repurchase a brand new thing. Sean and I both got back from the trip and said, right now, we're not even thinking about how hard the work was. We're thinking about how fun that was, and that we are definitely going to seize the opportunity and do that again. And it's just so worth having, like you said, a little just change of scenery, a little change of pace. It's so fun to sleep somewhere different or just have a little bit of an adventure. And I know for some people, camping is not the adventure they want, but to me, I would rather go camping than be in anything less than a 5-star hotel. Like, I am so much more freaked out by sharing a space that's like a bed who knows who has slept in, the duvet who knows when has been washed last. Don't want to bring out my black light and see what's on this remote control or whatever else. Like, I don't know. To me, it was just fabulous, and getting to see the stars and getting to hear the animals as soon as we wake up, hearing the animals and the horses do their little and everything. It was, yeah, so fun, and we got to eat good food, and I think a s'more hits every once in a while, and
it does.
we did s'mores and they were good. Yeah, it was so special. I can't wait to do it again, and I just hope that people, like, it made me feel, I don't at all feel regret for not having done it sooner, but it just made me feel like, yes, this is what life is about. Like, Sean and I last week spent several days working hard to get ourselves prepared. Like, honestly, we had less sleep than usual last week and worked really hard throughout the days trying to get everything ready and prepared. And now we still have more work ahead of us with deconstructing and washing everything and just getting back organized to our day to day lives over the next day or two. But even with all that, it still is just so worth it. I think that working hard in life is worth it. And it's even better when it's for something fun.
Yeah, I mean, working hard to have fun is kind of best case scenario because I do feel like life is just kind of hard work. Brayden and I
Yeah.
talk about a lot how sometimes we have been raised in a culture where you think like because things are so convenient, like that it's best when things are very convenient, but in life I rarely find that to be the case. Even think about the most basic example, like is food better once it's been delivered to your door from DoorDash or is it better in the restaurant? It's definitely better in the restaurant, but it's much more convenient to have it brought to you. That's just like one example of the ways that we kind of sacrifice actually like joyful moments for ease in a lot of ways, and there are times where that's what you need. We're all so like overworked and so busy that is understandable to feel like I just want my vacation to actually be relaxing. But I have seen some travel that is by the most like luxurious standards where people aren't enjoying it, and I've been in the backcountry where I actually wanted to die because my feet were bleeding so bad. It was so busted. I was
Crazy
very over it and
blisters.
been like, wow, crazy, disgusting, horrible. If you saw it on the internet, it would be censored for
Yeah.
like people to not be able to look at. And you're like, oh my gosh, this dehydrated backpacking meal is actually so good because you're just like so tired from the day, and then the scenery is so beautiful that you're like, ah, it's so lucky that we get to be out here,
Yeah.
you know.
I know, it made me want to go backpacking real bad. Ah,
Would
how
be so cute
fun.
though to see on the trails somebody's goat just prancing
Oh, yeah.
along.
How was
How
your
cute would
weekend,
that
Dry?
be? I feel like I am in a slightly dissociative state right now, because I've been on an emotional roller coaster this morning, and my weekend was good. I was on my period, to be quite frank with
Mm-hmm.
you guys, so I think I've just been kind of in my feels and kind of not at the top of my feeling awesome, but I am remembering I did have a nice weekend. Brayden and I played a lot of games together. I made a carrot cake with a bunch of carrots from our garden, exclusively carrots from our garden, which
Yum.
was nice and satisfying and yummy. And I made an icing with like actual like vanilla bean seeds. I sliced a vanilla bean to use.
Wow.
That made me feel very elevated, but I also then was like in the bathtub and just wishing for the pain to go away. I finished a couple
Mm-hmm.
books though. That was really satisfying because I don't remember if I talked about this briefly on here or not, but I'm trying to dig into my physical TBR, if you will, my to be read books that I already own, because between me like bringing books from college that I never actually got around to reading but wanted to read, and then our little free libraries in this town, I have so many books that I want to read that I haven't gotten to yet, but I wanted to like wrap up all my little lingering books that, I'm partway through before
Mm-hmm.
embarking on that journey, just to feel like everything is tied up and now I can set out into this goal, a goal of which I haven't exactly established yet, but just wanting to read some of the books I already own. And this shows you just what finding the joy in life can be like, because I've been so satisfied since I reorganized my bookshelf. I took like these I had a set of books that were all like thick big books for the classics basically, but kind of annoying because I got, when I went into college, several like volumes that would be like people's complete works, which now I know that those books are so big. Like, I wish that I just had them as individual books because it's so daunting to
Now
like
you know.
read.
Yeah, girl, you bought a stack of 6 of them from Barnes and Noble, and they're the height of you.
I know,
They're
and I was just
ginormous.
so like excited because of being
A
the
nerd.
literature girly that I am, of being like, oh, this is so fun. Anyway, I got those. They got kicked out of the bookshelf because they were taking too much space from what I needed going on, reorganized. So now my books look lovely, straight,
Wow.
so fit into the shelf. So I'm excited for embarking on that. But I just was very happy that you were getting to go camping, and thinking about that was making me excited. And I finished up a book called Rouge by Mona Awad that I will throw out as a recommendation for any literature people that are okay with being taken for a ride that you probably don't understand most of the way. I would call it magical realism, but some might call it like fantasy. It's very much so, you're not, it feels not of this world, but you're like,
Okay.
oh, is this actually happening? But she ties it up at the end nicely. I knew she would. There was a while reading where I'm like, I don't think I see, but I'm
yeah.
willing to wait till we get there. And she's a writer that I really enjoy, so I put my faith in her, and I would recommend it, but I do think that it's not for everyone. I don't think a great book, or a good book, however you want to define it, means that everyone's gonna like it. So there's my tentative suggestion.
Nice. That was one of your physical books you had? Or
No, that was a lingerer that I was wrapping up because I had rented it on Libby. So I wrapped that book up. Another one, why I can't remember right now. Like, again, I'm feeling slightly delirious with my
was it the one you were
wrapping
just
up my
talking to
period
me
brain.
about? Anne Patchett or whatever? Anne Patchett?
No, I read Tom Lake on
Oh, yeah.
our drive back for the summer, but right now I finished up Locking Up Our Own, the book that I've told you about, but
Yeah.
I don't think the pod, Crime and Punishment in Black America, is the subtitle. A nonfiction book that was very, very informative, but very highly researched and just took me longer to read.
Yeah.
So that, I'm so excited
Nice.
because I've been working on that for a while. Finished up that one, and now I am close with Animal Vegetable Miracle by Barbara Kingsolver, that again I told you guys about a long time ago, and it might seem like, oh my gosh, you've read so many books since then, because I've had several going. So now I've kind of wrapped things up, and I'm going to go back to my normal state as a reader, is focusing on one. And I don't think that's a hard and fast rule, again, because clearly I've done this other side. I think that it goes through phases, and I was reminded and inspired from thinking of when Quinn basically said to me on the podcast that you don't have to feel like a judgment on yourself if you are ever in an era where you feel more like consuming media and you're watching more shows or you're listening to more audiobooks as you go throughout the day, like sometimes you're going to want more silence and room to think in your life, and sometimes you're going to feel more like doing it up more. And I think the same applies with reading, where sometimes you want to give like your full concentration and really get into one book at a time and just focus on that, but it's not like a morally superior thing to do than crack open several and to dabble around in each. And just letting myself flow through those things is, it's a kind of simple thing to think about, but it has been a learning curve, because as a kid I feel like I was just really strict with myself about certain things. Like I was strict that I only ever read one book at a time, and I always like finished a book, never didn't finish, and things like that, that I'm like, girl, you don't have to like set those sorts of like standards for yourself if you don't want to.
Yeah, I have really struggled for a little while to just have one book going, but it's because now I'm as into audiobooks as I am that I don't always have an audiobook going, but I feel like I often do, but I also want a physical book going. So my physical books have taken a little bit, been to the wayside, which I for a minute was like, what is wrong? Why? And then I remembered, I am mothering a puppy, and was like, oh, yes, it's okay. Like, give yourself. I get into bed and I will try to open my book, and seriously, I will try to read the lines, and I get like 3 sentences in and I'm like trying to keep reading, and it's just not happening right now, and that's okay too. And I think that it makes me feel weird because I consider myself a reader and I love reading books, so it can feel weird when it's like, oh, I'm not actually reading a physical book right now. But, well, I am. I'm just 5 pages in and have been reading it for the past 3 months, but
yeah, that's how it was also though with locking up our own, because
you've been reading that for a couple
I had
years
it on my nights. No.
Yeah.
Really? I don't think I've owned it for a couple years.
You've talked to me about it for I feel like
I think it was one that I started and then I had to restart because it had been so long since I had gotten into it. But my mistake for having it as a nightstand book, because something like that like every page has just so much information and resources in it, and like subtitle or end notes that you can like go back and reference, that it's not just referencing like an annotation or annotation. A lot of the times it has more information there. Anyway, so every time I would try to read that at night, I'm like, I could not get one page into it without checking out. And so I got through it recently, but I changed that to like my morning book, and I've been doing every day when I wake up, spending some time reading, even if it's like 10 minutes. And my brain was so much more like fresh and available for that sort of information at that point, that makes a difference too when you're reading a book, when you come to it. And there are certain books that I frankly find more like bedtime books that is not a bad quality about them, but that's more like I don't really mind if I kind of miss some of this information. Kind of the same thing as beach reads, where you're like, there are some books that you just want to be able to feel casual about, and like you're not really trying to get every word necessarily as strongly.
That's like for me, you obviously with your book that you want to learn, you want to pay more attention. But for me with Love Island right now, I'm just like, I would never get through this show if I paused it every time I needed to get up, or if I never looked away and was absorbing everything. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, hopefully I don't miss one of these really good juicy interactions right now. But if I do, I will never get through these 36 freaking episodes if I'm paying attention to every second. So I feel very proud of myself that
And
I'm as far
you
along as I am.
you should. Yeah, Love Island cannot be a I need to be here for every moment type of program because just think about like the content of it. It's not that you're not usually missing anything, and if you do, they'll repeat like an important scene you'll see 3 times in the show. Like they just keep
True.
showing you those moments, so you're like, if it's important, I'm sure it'll come up. What was I just thinking about reading though? That yeah, and I wanted to insert about audiobooks as well, that 100% is how I have been consuming most of my books, which I really stand by and think is a great thing. And I've felt like I need to be reading more of these physical books because I like physically reading. Like, that's an enjoyable activity, and I feel like my brain works differently reading than listening. And I just am reading an audiobook or listening to an audiobook that I feel like is sending me almost into a reading slump because I am not enjoying it. And I realized this is what like DNF, if you're in the book talk community, or did not finish shelves are for. Because why do I feel like I have to like commit to continuing this when I am dreading to listen? That is just not how I want to feel with reading. That's when I reserve the right to not finish a book, is if it is not like resonating with me at all. Why? Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I struggle only because I do believe in giving things a chance, and I do think it's hard if you're 20 pages into something to say like an overall judgment of a book. So maybe you should reserve your judgment, but that doesn't mean you should necessarily like soldier through if you really don't feel like it.
It is so hard because I think we've all had it. If you've read enough books, there are books that start out and you're not as into it, but then you're so glad you kept reading. But then there are books that it's like, I'm sorry, this does feel like a waste of my time when there are millions of other books out there. But I I had a vision for this summer that I was going to be reading so much, which again, let's not discount reading audiobooks. So therefore I have been reading a lot, but I have not been spending as much time feet kicked up opening a book, which I also love and value that time. But I imagine like for moms that are readers that have new babies or 2 year olds or 5 year olds or whatever, like it sometimes things just have to ebb and flow in life, and that doesn't make you less. That's also how I feel literally about the camping thing. Like, I have always felt like I am an outdoor recreationalist just because for a few years we haven't got outside in the same way as often as we're used to. That doesn't make it less valid that that's something I love and care about and am passionate about doing. It's okay to return back to something, and have times in your
Mm-hmm.
life that you have to step away a little bit.
And I think that sometimes we value like the most full out way of doing something, but think about how many moms are reading 20 children's books a week to their kid, and yeah, they might
True.
not have enough time for their same pleasure reading that they used to, but like that's engaging with reading in such an important way that really informs like how your kid could come up to be a reader and their comprehension, all of those things, whatever. Like I think that it's also time spent reading, even if it's different, and you deserve to have time on your own books. But same with the outdoors, like talking about Patagonia, the drag queen,
Mm-hmm.
that's an environmental activist as well. We'll talk about how any time spent outside can be your outside time, and so many people feel like the outdoors are not a space that's available to them because it is like gate kept, and it's often expensive to feel like you have the gear for entry. But anyone has access to being outside, and even if your walks in your neighborhood with your dog are your outdoor time, you don't have to be going on Jimmy Chin fucking expeditions to Patagonia to be experiencing the outdoors. And
Yeah.
I think that's just a nice way to make yourself like comforted that even in this busy, fast-paced working world, when I go and spend my time in my suburban, or I don't know if you would consider urban garden, that is outdoors time. And even though I haven't gone out into the backcountry or out camping, that I do really value, I still get to like interact with the outdoors daily if I want to, and that's important to me.
Me too, and I think that's a big reason why I haven't been going out in the backcountry nearly as much, is because I have such a lovely property that I feel so lucky about, that I love the whole outside of our property. I love the inside, I love the outside. I'm able to do so much with my animals in that way. I see so many different plants and grasses and insects and animals and butterflies. Like I feel extremely lucky for the setup and situation I have, and I love it so much. So it was great though
Insects,
to feel like
animals, butterflies.
Butterflies.
So the three main groups.
Oh, I love butterflies. I'm about to
Toads
tattoo
and butterflies galore.
I'm about to tattoo a couple butterflies tomorrow that I'm so excited about. But anyhow,
I still haven't had a butterfly from you. I would like that.
Yeah, what the heck? But
I want a tattoo from Quinn. How come I never
Yeah.
get to get any?
we're always so busy together because
Ugh.
you live so far away that when we're together we can't spare a second. But we
I
do
know,
have
we need to
matching
get her
butterfly
to work,
tattoos.
people. That we do. Well, that twin love extends all distances, and this week we definitely were feeling the distance more on some days, where it can be a very upsetting feeling to not be in person with each other. But yet again, I am grateful for the podcast because it's such a collaborative effort between Quinn and I that brings us together multiple times a week, every week. Not that we wouldn't be calling and texting anyway, but creating something is a special thing to get to do. So thanks for being a part of that. And we can't wait to get our 100th episode under our belt next week, you guys. It's a fun milestone upcoming for the Q&R code.
100th episode next week. Be on the lookout for something fun. And if you have any ideas for us that you think we could visit for our 100th episode, let us know, because we're still brainstorming. Anyhow, thank you for listening.
No, we're just excited. We don't know what to say because it's just, I mean, it is kind of wild to think about. I know we're a small podcast, small but mighty, and people love to slander a podcast on the internet these days, which is a completely fair critique, but I am like, most people that start a podcast never get to 100 episodes, truly. Like, I think we deserve a little tooting of ye old horn for that.
Straight up. I agree. I'm so proud of us. Nevertheless, we persist, and that's
We persisted.
that. We persist, and that's just the way it is. Well, thank you very much for listening
lots
again,
of
everyone.
Love. Yeah, thank you for
our
listening.
interrupting
Thank you
each
for
other is
sharing.
so crazy. We
Sorry.
just both have stuff to say.
I just was excited to hear about your camp time, Quinn, and it did leave me feeling inspired to get myself together, put a little work in, and get that guy out there. And
That
it's
guy
a
Roger?
lovely thing to be. Yeah, that guy Raja. the guy Raja, he would like it. He is a wascally wabbit, but we are having a potential this weekend adventure, so stay tuned for that.
Nice.
Other than that, we'll talk to you next time.
Thanks. Bye.